Hello, everyone. I hope you're well. How has your weekend been? If you're in the UK, we finally got summer again for about the first time in 6 weeks. So I hope you're enjoying that, guys. It's awesome to see so many of you here. Normally, I have to fill for 10 minutes whilst you all sort of like wander in, but look at you all. You're all so keen. Kevin, welcome in. Snuffle, and great to see you. I love seeing Anne back in chat. Makes me feel all warm and fuzzy. Ricky, welcome in, mate. Welcome in, Paul, Nia Cheeks. Have I missed anyone? TJ as well. Guys, you will see from the little logos on people's names that if where they're chatting, when we start the interview, the chat gets removed from the screen. So if you want to be involved in the chat, then head towards where you see the most logos. So at the minute, obviously, you can see that most people are watching this over on YouTube based on the chats. That won't necessarily be where the most viewers are, but we are multi-streaming live to my Facebook page, my LinkedIn page, my Twitter account, X. I don't really know how much longer I'm going to tolerate streaming that to that place. But anywhere where you're watching, basically, once we start the interview, you'll be able to chat on the platform with the people that are watching there with you. So, for example, if you're on Facebook, you will see the other comments on Facebook. You won't see the culminated sort of like all the other people who are watching in other places. So, if you want to get involved in chat, please do it probably on YouTube by looking at everyone in tonight. I hope you're good, guys. I hope you're good. Vocal volume is perfect. I'm loving all the reassurance, guys. I need this. I've been feeling rubbish the last week. Those of you that know, join me over on Twitch will know that we stream. When did we stream? Thursday. And I was then off work sick Friday. I felt rubbish all weekend. I've also rolled my ankle, which was lovely, because Claro, my mad juvenile spaniel, decided to dive into the bushes, and I got an ankle that I've broken twice in the past, and yeah, rolled that, but thankfully it looks like it's only just a sprain. So I'm feeling sorry for myself today, guys, and I probably wouldn't be here if we didn't have such an awesome guest. So thank you for all dropping in nice and early, because I'm really looking forward to this one tonight and chatting to Petra. And those of you that are already in our Twitch community or Discord will already know Petra, but you get to find out a lot more tonight, hopefully. So thank you for all the support, guys. Really appreciate it. But how's your weekend's been? Hopefully better than mine. I've just been having like random breaking out of sweats and feeling rubbish and headaches, and the heat hasn't helped. And poor old Nia Cheeks and Dylan have been coughing for like 3 weeks now. It's just never ending. And to make matters worse, it's my birthday tomorrow, and it's my last one in my 30s, so I'm even more miserable because I keep having Dylan, my 4-year-old, reminding me that I'm going to be 40 next year, which toddlers are great at doing that sort of thing, aren't they? But he does it with a big smirk on his face as well, which tells me he knows exactly what he's doing. But I hope you're all well, guys. I hope you're all well. I'll thank you for getting involved in chat, Petra. I like that. Group hug, had a rubbish week. Sorry to hear that, TJ. Are you the TJ I think you are? Just out of interest. You don't have to spell it out, but confirmation would be nice. I like to know who I talk to, and everyone uses different names. It's like we have like seeing Ricky Cobb on here. It's just hilarious compared to what we see on Twitch. But very formal. It's just like his like professional social media account. But yeah, it's been a long weekend. And obviously the football didn't go our way earlier, did it, guys? For those of us over in England and that. So at least the weather's nice. Happy early birthday, and don't worry, you guys, catch up. Thank you. Yeah, I'd normally stream on a Monday night, but if I feel rubbish, like I only do, I tended to play through the Chronic Pain Club. I know that kind of goes against what we do here. It tends to be an hour. So for anyone who's new here, firstly, hi, say hello in chat. Please get involved, because basically, for anyone that understands this stuff, it's not only that the chat means we get shown to more people if the chat's nice and busy, but we are here to exist as a peer support community. So we get in a different guest every week to share their story, and that goes on to form a Joel vs. Arthritis podcast episode, etc. But what we're really here for is to get a load of like-minded people together in the same place to support one of each other. So the format here is I will chat for 5-10 minutes, make sure everyone's doing okay, warm everything up and everything. Then we'll bring a guest in. The chat goes off screen. We have our sort of 40-minute interview. Please keep the chat going. I will feature the best ones on screen. And also it helps people that aren't watching on your platform, i.e. those on Facebook who can't see the YouTube comments. I'll feature the best ones as we go. And then what we do when the interview's over, we let not in this occasion, Petra go off and enjoy the rest of their Sunday evening, because we appreciate people give up a lot to join us on a Sunday night. And then we carry on for as long as you guys need it. So if you guys are really busy in chat and supporting each other, I'll just sit here and facilitate that for as long as you need. But general rule of thumb, we'll be here for about an hour and a half in total. So I tend to play through these a little bit more. But whether I'm on Twitch tomorrow night, we'll see, guys, because that tends to be a little bit more involved. And we've just had a flurry of messages, so let me just catch up with everyone. Welcome in, Waverly. Nice to see you. I hope your weekend's been good. I saw you were busy painting this weekend. Ricky, I'm always a professional idiot. I should just point out, me and Ricky go back a long way over on Twitch. I wouldn't do that to my regular audience. I feel like I should point out. Frederick, Joe, I love you and your channel. Send hugs to everyone who deals with credit pay. Frederick, that's so kind. Thank you. And I don't think I've seen you in chat here on a Sunday night before. So thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Genuinely, guys, make the new chatters feel really welcome, guys, because it is the core of what we do here. I just turn up and bring you a guest and we hear an awesome story, but the work we really do with that story comes later when we create the YouTube video and the podcast episode, etc. But what happens live on the night is what goes on in chat. That's the sort of beauty of what we do. So make all the new chats feel welcome, guys. Really appreciate it. Creative Crafters Reunited. Anna's been saying some lovely things about you, Petra, during the week. Just a lovely person, both of you, really. Jansen Pickle, greetings. Welcome in. I don't know if I've seen you in chat before either, so welcome in. I hope you're good. How's your weekend been? As if it's the same Phoenix Paul. I must admit, I first initially thought Phoenix Paul was Petra or an alt account, but obviously not, unless Petra's talking to themselves in chat. Some people might. I'll be dropping in and out, catch up on my task. No, that's absolutely fine. Like we say on Twitch, guys, even if you can't give it your full attention, just having us on a tab in the background genuinely helps. Like, I know it sounds like I'm begging slightly there, but because of the way these algorithms and stuff works, even if you can't be involved in the chat, just having us on in the background while you're washing up or cooking or whatever that might be genuinely helps us. So thank you. Lurkers are always welcome here. And we know we've got lots of people that watch week in, week out and have never said anything in chat, but they DM me afterwards, and that's fine. Like, so literally just, guys, take from it whatever you need to take from it. I'm loving all these chats. I've just seen Ricky's charming one. Sorry, Ricky. You know I wouldn't say it unless you could take it. Right, what have we got? Neoteeks new chat. As my week has been really busy and good, thank you. There's always a catch-22 in it. You have a really busy weekend, it flies by. You do nothing, and it drags, and you go to work on Monday thinking you haven't achieved nothing. So it's absolutely catch-22. Awesome. I'm loving all these new people in chat, guys. So yeah, this is your final warning before we bring our guest in. When we do the interview, we take the chat off screen that you can see at the minute, which brings all of the chat from all the different channels that we're streaming to at the minute in one place. So if you are over on Facebook, you can see that most of the people are chatting here on YouTube. If you want to hop over to YouTube, just go Joel versus Arthritis, all one word. You can carry on that conversation. I will continue to feature the best stuff on screen, and if I give you a little demo of that now, let's start this a random one I'll pick. So what we'll do is we'll feature it like that on screen during the interview. Petra and myself won't pay too much attention to it because we'll be having our conversation, but it serves two purposes. One, it helps people watching at home that might not be watching on your platform see what's going on, but also it helps when we do the video and it goes up on YouTube for a bit better engagement for the viewer who's maybe watching this weeks down the line. And to give you some example of that, today we randomly picked up nearly 20 new subscribers, and one video in particular just randomly got, when we interviewed Tracy from a couple of weeks back, just randomly got a load of new views today. So it just happens randomly. So the reason we feature those comments is because anything we think that comes through on chat is really important. Hopefully people can get a bit of extra flavor when they watch the interview back down the road. Right, I feel like I should bring my guest in now because I could sit and talk to you guys all night. I will do that after the interview, but I don't want to keep Petra waiting anymore. So let me kill the music because it's always the thing I forget. So I've started to try and get into a habit of killing the music first. So where's my chat? Let's say goodbye to you guys for now, but please do keep chatting. I will see you still what you're saying, and we'll still highlight your messages as we go along. So without further ado, Guys, I'm absolutely delighted to welcome somebody that I sort of now consider an internet friend. I don't know if there's a better term for that. Feels a bit cold, Petra. But so somebody that I've hung out with in a couple of different circles where we've sort of overlapped through either pain management stuff or the work we're doing on Twitch. And now we chat during the week over on Discord. So guys, welcome in sort of lived experience expert Petra Phoenix. Petra, how are you?
Hello, Joel. I'm good, thanks. And yeah, I mean, internet friend feels a bit weird, doesn't it? But
Yeah,
yeah,
it
let's.
does.
But yeah, no, we're mates now. I think I'm going to
Yeah,
go with that.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's it. I
definitely.
think after since pandemic, I think 90% of my friends are sort of in that format anyway, or in that category. But I always do these really posh presentations, introductions for guests, and then when I've got someone I feel like I know really well, I don't know, it's like almost like casualness. So I probably didn't give you enough credit there. So, so first of all, before we get on to like all the formal stuff, thank you for bringing the dog on. Do you want to introduce them to everyone?
Yeah, this is Tiny Dog. The clues in the name. Um, she really is very, very small, and she's very, very much hoping that I'm going to give her one of her treats. That's just there. You go. She knows the word. That's just sat here on the desk. So
Licking lips
what?
and everything.
Yeah. What I'm going to do is I'm going to let her jump down there into her bed and give her one of her treats so that I can try and talk without being too distracted. She says it's the eternal quest,
Yeah.
right? But I
No,
will be covered in dog hair.
no, it's
Apologies.
absolutely
It's just
fine.
the nature of the beast.
And if you're
But then
listening
you.
to the podcast back, guys, and want to see the dog, then go check out the YouTube channel. But yeah, I love Tiny Dog. So every time I watch you on stream over on Twitch, I see the dog sitting there, and that was my plans when I got a new puppy, and then quickly realised that spaniels are never gonna sit in a room for 3 hours on my lap.
Nah.
Which was a shock after having a Jack Russell. Um,
Yeah,
so
well, she's part Jack Russell. So,
yeah,
yeah, she's part Jack Russell, part Chihuahua. For those that can't see, she's a black and white dog, looks very like a Chihuahua and also very like a tiny Jack Russell. She's a little madam. She's an absolute sod, but she's absolutely adorable and full of love. So,
no,
yeah, there we go.
animals are always welcome, and that's probably the first one we've had that's here by design. We normally get a lot of cats running across screens and keyboards and things, so they're very well behaved. So I suppose many of us here that are watching live know you already, Petra, but for those who don't, do you want to maybe just give us a bit of background on yourself before we get into the medical stuff?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm Petra. I live up in the northeast of England. Sometimes it feels like the back end of nowhere, but it's yeah, it's a great place to be. And yeah, I study, so I'm 2/3 of the way through my degree at the moment. So I've come back to that as a mature student, she says, doing air quotes. And other than that, I stream on Twitch. Yeah, I've got grown-up kids. They've moved out now, so I'm kind of at that point in my life where I'm kind of wondering what comes next. So I'm studying and doing all that sort of thing, as well as dealing with all of the other things that go along with chronic pain malarkey.
Yeah, well, you seem to pop up with whatever I do, so you're obviously very busy. So, like, obviously, as hinted earlier, we met via sort of pain management
Yeah.
circles, which was a quite funny experience for both of us when you sit on the Zoom call and you both recognise each other, and but you never sort of been formally introduced through that sort of platform. But do you want to maybe tell us about your experience with pain? So, like, how did you get to us being on that same sort of call that
Yeah.
day? And I appreciate this
Okay.
might be a long story, so take as much time
This
as you need.
this is quite a long story because I'm older than I like to admit. No, I'm quite happy to admit how old I am. But yeah, it's been going on for a number of years. So I don't remember a day where I haven't been in pain in at least the last 21 years. So it's a lot of time. However, I was diagnosed, she says, air quoting again, in about 2015, 2016 with chronic pain. Chronic pain syndrome is, I think, what's actually written down on my medical record. And I was also told a couple of years before that I had fibromyalgia, but it turns out that's not on my medical record. So they're the main sort of health conditions that I'm dealing with as regards to pain. But yeah, my pain journey probably started way back when I was pregnant with my youngest child, and my body fell apart. Not great at carrying children in that manner. My body can't cope with it. Everything fell apart, and I was in a lot of pain throughout. And it kind of carried on a bit after that. Shortly after that, well, a few years after that, so there was always things grumbling that had never quite fixed themselves after being pregnant. Then a few years later, well, the kids, no, yeah, a couple of years later, I started to get pain in my shoulder and my range of movement was impinged. And I kept going to the GP and I kept being told, you've slept on it funny, you're fine, go away, take some paracetamol. But I knew it was something more than that. And it took about 3 years of continuously making appointments at the GP every month or so to say there's something wrong. And it took one of the GPs looked at me in exasperation at one point. Well, what did you've had scans and things, haven't you? What did the X-ray show? I said, no, I've never had scans. I've never had anything looked at. We've never looked at this. Nothing has ever been done. No. He said, oh, do you want me to send you? I said, yes, I do want you to send me for something. And I was sent for an X-ray. Now, at that point, thankfully, you didn't have to wait very long for an X-ray because it was in the same building as my GP. So I had an X-ray maybe a week or so later, and they discovered I had calcium in my tendons. There's a proper term for it. I don't know what the words are. Something like calcified tendonitis or something. Anyway, it means calcium in your tendons. So it impinges your range of movements because your tendons can't move freely. Now, this is something that normally happens to people in their 50s. I was in my late 20s at that stage. Late 20s, early 30s. And so they weren't looking for it in me because I wasn't the prime I wasn't the people that normally get this. So I had to have an operation, the calcium was taken out of my tendon. I did a long period of physio and rehabilitation on it. And my shoulder's now fine. However, I feel that was the start of my chronic pain journey, not Jane Perney, that's a different thing entirely. A chronic pain journey, because I think that's the point at which my body was sensitized to pain. And so following that, a few years later, I was refereeing roller derby, I was doing long walks, I was generally very fit, very active. And I was doing a 26-mile walk for breast cancer charities to raise money. Now, I did this walk. I hadn't trained properly for it. I'm going to say that straight off. If you're doing something like this, put in the work beforehand. It's worth it. And I ended up with bursitis in both of my hips. Now, for those that don't know what bursitis is, the way that your joint moves in between the ball joint of your hip and the socket, there's a pad. It's like a little pad, and that's your bursa. Those had become inflamed. So obviously every movement I took, it was hurting it was touching on that and it was causing pain. And it feels like right inside my hips. I had various bits done. I had injections in both the hips. I had, again, physio and stuff. And all the inflammation died away. The pain went from my left-hand side, but to this day, I still have pain in my hip in my right-hand side. So I still have bursitis pain, even though I no longer have bursitis. And that is why I've got this chronic pain syndrome diagnosis. Sorry, I was just trying to see where the dog's gone. She's tucked herself in.
I've been watching, not that I haven't been listening. It's been quite a performance, her getting comfortable.
Yeah, I'm well aware that people come and see me for the dog. It's not a problem. And so, yeah, so I have this bursitis pain in my hip constantly. Now, while all this was rumbling on, I was also getting strange aches, just general aches, nothing that you could put them down to. But bits of me would be very sore, bits like he would be very sore on my shoulders, on the outside of my shoulders there, my knees, they'd be very sore points. And at that point, fibromyalgia was diagnosed using trigger points. Well, I say diagnosed. At that stage, fibromyalgia, and still is to some extent, a diagnosis of non-diagnosis. So they look at various different things and exclude everything that they know it isn't. And then if they can't find anything else, then they give you this fibromyalgia diagnosis. So I was told by a rheumatologist that I had fibromyalgia. it was only a couple of years ago when I asked for a letter from my GP so I could give it to my university for help with, for disability support, that I discovered that fibromyalgia wasn't on my record. And so I'd gone for 10 years assuming that I'd gone on my record and it just wasn't there. But I do show all those signs. Now, in about 2013, 2014, which is, no, 2012 was when the bursitis started in my hip. In about 2013, I managed finally to get someone to take me seriously, that the pain was still there. And first I was prescribed things that did me no good whatsoever and wiped me out on incredibly low doses. I'm incredibly susceptible to medication. It's ridiculous. To the point I've hallucinated on Pucker tea that you buy in the supermarket. So yeah, I'm incredibly susceptible to medication. And so they gave me an incredibly low dose of amitriptyline, and it was wiping me out from when I took it from 9 o'clock at night till midday the following day. But I had young children at home, so that just wasn't safe. So I said, I don't want to do this. I don't want to take medication because my children's safety comes first. I can put up with being in pain as long as I can look after my children. I can't have them in danger through me being zombified by drugs, albeit legal ones. And so I was referred to a pain clinic at that point. Thankfully, the pain clinic I was referred to was a good one, because countrywide, they're a very movable feast. Some of them are brilliant, some of them are dreadful, and then you've got everything in between, really. Thankfully, mine was a really good one, who were right up to date with the top research in pain science. They knew of the work of Lorimer Moseley. They were building on those sorts of bases, and so they knew what they were talking about. And when so I did this pain clinic. I was under them for about a year, give or take, and learned so much. Whilst I was there, though, my pain got worse rather than better, which sounds counterproductive. However, the techniques that I learned at the time and the things that I've used since then have been key in getting me back up to health and able to do things, able to function like a human being, which I couldn't do at that stage. And so, though at the time, I think the reason I felt like it was getting worse when I was at the pain clinic is that I spent so much time thinking about my pain. So I was giving my pain all my attention. And so it was like, yay, I can, I'm going to run riot here. I'm going to absolutely have your life. And it did. Yeah. And so basically, I went through the pain clinic. Once you go through the pain clinic, you're then discharged. And so I have no consultant to deal with pain. If I have any questions about pain, I have to go and see my GPs, who are generally less informed about chronic pain than I am. So I have effectively no NHS help when it comes to dealing with my pain. I manage it myself with the help of peer support things mostly. But yeah, essentially I have no NHS help with my pain now, and haven't had for about 10 years.
Luckily for you, I haven't got a pen and paper, because I would have been taking so many notes of similar examples, and just I could literally talk to you all night about. So, for example, amitriptyline, and Dylan was like only 1 when I was put on that, and I just couldn't function. Even if I took it at tea time, like 5 o'clock, I was still wiped out to lunchtime the next day, and it just wasn't safe. I was a zombie. And that whole, I wanted to ask you about how you felt. I appreciate, like, I've provided some questions in advance, so if I go too off the beaten track, please tell me.
No, it's fine.
But like with that, you said about the fibromyalgia, as somebody that myself lived with a condition for a very long time, until I had to request information that got me a letter that I noticed something wasn't on there. So nobody fronted up to me and said something had changed or never became official. How did that make you feel, that you're in all this pain, and then the thing you thought it was, and again, without going off on a different subject, that whole fibromyalgia, if it's not everything else, it must be that. You can see why people get such a bad rap with that condition and the label of that condition. How did that make you feel? Like, so you're studying, and then you suddenly get that sort of bombshell.
Well, I was a bit bewildered to start with. But actually, when I thought about it longer, it's actually been an advantage.
Mhm.
Because you don't have, as you just mentioned, the negative connotations that a lot of medical professionals still have about the label fibromyalgia.
Yeah.
Because it's an invisible illness, as most chronic pain conditions are, a lot of people see you as, in Victorian terms, a malingerer. You know, a person, you're making it up for, you know, because you just want attention, or you just want the benefits, or you just want the whatever. Incidentally, I'm not claiming any benefits, so that's absolutely not why I would say I have fibromyalgia. Just for the record, the fact I feel I have to do that even here says something, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
exactly. Yeah.
And so, yeah, so it's often seen by people that don't understand it, because when they did their training, it wasn't covered for more than 10 minutes. You know, and the pushback you get from medical professionals regarding it, I haven't ever had that. And now it makes sense why, because it wasn't there.
Yeah.
And so I could go, and granted, I've lost a lot of weight fairly recently, and so I was quite overweight before, sort of bordering, I was obese, bordering the next category up, which is a horrible term, and I can't remember what it is, but it's not nice, but bordering on that. So most of the time I was told, it's your weight, go and lose weight. It'd be interesting to see what the GP would say now, but there we are. And so, yeah, so, but I didn't get that pushback because of fibromyalgia. I mean, I have a theory about fibromyalgia, is that it's not just one condition, that it's a whole range of things. And I think there's a whole spectrum of conditions that, you know, cover all sorts of different chronic pain things, and fibromyalgia sits within it. And it will turn out to be several different things, because there's so much we don't still know about the way the pain works. But that's a whole other aside that I could wander off down, and probably should rein myself in again.
No, it's worth mentioning it, because it's like, I was at EULAR this year, and they're finally now talking about how psoriatic disease, which is what I have, how men getting obese with that is a symptom, not a cause. And, you know, I went most of my life, it's a different condition, but same sort of subject, where that,
Yeah.
you know, people are saying, lose weight, you're causing your arthritis. And now there's sort of, that conversation is turning to say, well, actually, there's a link there, and
Yeah.
it's what it genetically, or the, you know, chemically, the makeup, it leads to that as a symptom. And I think you're spot on with fibromyalgia. But yeah, when you said about that whole, it's not this, it's not this, it's not this, so it must be fibromyalgia, it struck a chord with me, because I see so many DMs over that, people feeling very hopeless or lost, or like
Yeah.
a fraud is a sort of word that sort of comes up quite a lot.
No, absolutely. And it does, I mean, to stay within the health banner, but to kind of slightly veer to one side, although it is linked. The so many people don't believe you when you've got chronic pain.
Yeah.
Medical people don't believe you. Family members might not believe you. You know, the disability people almost definitely won't believe you. You know, constantly, you know, people walking past don't think you should be using a stick because you're too young. Why have you got a wheelchair? What are you doing with that? And people feel the right to question you as somebody who looks younger and are using disability aids. Funnily enough, they don't do it for glasses, which are a disability aid. Just putting that out there.
Yeah.
And so I can't remember. Oh yeah. And so, like, because within the last year, I've been diagnosed with ADHD. And when I first went to see the doctors about it, they said, well, why do you want this? Or how is it going to help you? I said, I've already got chronic pain conditions that mean that people don't believe me. I believe I have this. If I don't have an official diagnosis, people aren't going to believe this either. And I spend so much of my life battling for people to believe me. I don't want another thing I have to fight them about.
Yeah.
And she kind of looked at me. I was like, oh, okay. And then we got somewhere with being referred for those sorts of things. So yeah, and it's just really frustrating to have to battle all the time just to be believed. And it's one of those things that I say often well, I've done a couple of sessions with, there's a group called Flipping Pain, who educate people about what pain actually is rather than what you think it is, which are often two separate things. And I have been one of their lived experience experts, and I got to say to a room full of health professionals, because they did a session for health professionals and people that are dealing with people with chronic pain, that when we come to you, you have to gain our trust. Because by the time we see you, if you're here, you've got an interest in chronic pain. You are going to be one of the more educated people that we see about it. But by the time we get to see you, we've seen so many other people that haven't believed us, that we've had to battle for. We assume you're not going to believe us either, because that's always been our experience. So you have to gain our trust before you can start educating us on anything. Because otherwise what we're going to hear is it's all in your head, because that's what we've been told so very often.
Yeah.
You know, and I know that's a kind of aside from my personal journey, as it were, but it's that whole kind of, it's one of those things that really, really winds me up, that we don't get believed. And why would we fake this?
Yeah,
I mean, for God's sake, I would give anything, more or less, not to be in this much pain. I wouldn't wish this on anybody.
Yeah.
Even people I really dislike, because it's evil. It sucks your soul out sometimes. It makes you feel like you're the most useless person on the planet, because other people can do X, Y, Z, and P while they're at it, and I can't do even X or Y. And I ought to be able to do these things. And we tell ourselves this all the time. We say, oh, I should be able to do that. Why can't I do this? This is the thing, you know, other people can. Why can't I? And the answer is, you're in a hell of a lot of pain, and that's a fucking full-time job.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we don't give ourselves credit enough for the way that we live life, that we manage to do things despite the fact that we're in pain, that would floor most people. I'm very passionate about this. Can you tell?
Oh yeah, no, totally. And the reason I sort of went off track a little bit is I think just every now and then we get people on here where you can tell they've been through that pain management experience, that lived, you know. So you and Ian, Mr. Cookfulness, which I'm sure you know, as
Yeah.
it just stands out because we're all talking the same language, and the words used there, manage, and it is a job, because it is managing it all down. And I remember I've had lots of experiences over the years with people thinking you're faking and all this sort of thing, but my first real experience of it being from somebody in a white coat, if you like, was during the pandemic, where I finally got a rheumatology appointment. I'd gone really downhill, everything got cancelled. That was when you couldn't even get a blood test because there was shortages and stuff like that. And it was the first time I'd ever, since I was in a wheelchair as a teenager, went to rheumatology with a walking aid. I just had a little fold up stick because I didn't trust my knee not to give way. And the guy was like, can I ask, what are you using that for? And I was like, well, my arthritis. So I thought, I was intensely awkward. And he said, like, yeah, but why? And I said, because my knee is sore. I don't trust it. It feels weak. And he made me feel so dirty. And it was the first time I'd used it. And that really shocked me. And I remember sort of trying to I didn't communicate it very well, but trying to say to him, like, I'm a new dad. If there was any time I was not going to fake being well, was when I was suddenly going out of the door to work with a totally different purpose, because I suddenly had this little thing in the house that changes your perspective on, like if there was any time when I was not going to be faking being sick, it was going to be that. You know what I mean? So with that, like pain management, like you and I have both been through it, and like you say, there are very different experiences. And I get a lot of flack on social media when I sing its praises, because I know it's not always done brilliantly. I too really struggled with pain during that. And do you want to maybe talk a little bit, because I know what caused mine, and you hinted at it earlier, that process for people that are maybe just starting out on that path, and it's maybe so easy to quit or turn back to looking for a sort of magic bullet that might not be there. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that experience?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, sorry, the noise you can hear is the dog drinking water just behind me. Apologies. Right. So pain. With chronic pain, acute pain is a different thing. If you burn yourself, that acute pain, there's something wrong. But all pain, acute or chronic, is a warning system. It doesn't mean, sorry, the dog wants to go out. Hang on. Go on, you. It doesn't actually necessarily mean there is anything wrong at all. So for me, I've got pain, but there is no inflammation. There is nothing physically wrong with my hip joint, but I still have pain. The other way, the way that it really sort of hit home to me, realizing that pain didn't mean there was anything wrong, was phantom limb pain. If pain is, if you think of pain as being in the site where it hurts, then how the hell do you get phantom limb pain? Because there is no limb there to hurt, but it still hurts. So therefore, it's in the brain, and that doesn't mean it's all in your head. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
So the idea that that pain is, oh, sorry, the dog's asking to get up again now. She's a nuisance. You're a nuisance, aren't you? An adorable one, but a nuisance. And so the idea that, right, I've jumped 3 steps ahead now because my brain's working at 1,000,000 miles an hour and thinking of 4 things at once. So take a step back. What pain is, it's an alarm system. It triggers your body to try and avoid the situation that caused it pain the first time around. And what chronic pain is a hyperactive alarm system. So it's as though you've bought a new car and you've turned the alarm up as high as it can go, and the sensitivity up as high as it can go. And consequently, if somebody walks past, it goes off, even though there's no danger to the car. That's basically what's happening with chronic pain in your body. It's thinking, crap, 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 crap. I'm going to be hurt. I'm going to be hurt. I've got to stop you doing that. So I'm going to give you some pain. And the particularly insidious thing about chronic pain is that the more you listen to it, the worse it becomes, because it thinks, excellent. It doesn't think. That's a weird way, but you don't know. But essentially, what happens is your body thinks, right, I stopped that happening. So that didn't hurt me now. So it's okay. So I didn't damage myself. So now the next time you do it, you'll get pain slightly earlier. And so you'll stop slightly sooner. And then you'll get pain slightly earlier and you'll stop slightly sooner. And before you know what, you're doing nothing.
Yep.
Now, the more attention you give that pain, the worse it becomes. So if I listen constantly and I'm constantly thinking, is that going to hurt me? Is that going to hurt me? Yes, it is. If you've got chronic pain, it will. Of course it will. Because you're looking for it to. And so your body is being primed over and over again, not just to, to cause the pain as a warning, but not only that, but it picks up these signals and it develops new ways to pick up the signals. It develops new pathways, new nerve pathways. It opens new gates so that you can get more of that information through. And so it becomes like this downward spiral until it's just pain. And so you've got to basically stop it in its tracks and go, no, I'm not listening to you for this time. I'm going to stretch myself slightly further, by which I don't mean you go out and do everything all at once. That's counterproductive. But you slowly, and it takes a lot of work. It takes so much work. It's not an easy fix, which is why people don't like it. But it does help in the long run. It's the best thing I've found. And you do tiny little bits. And you push back against the pain and say, see, it didn't hurt when I did a bit extra, so you don't need to warn me until a bit later on. And then you push back a bit further, and then it doesn't have to warn you till a bit later on. And slowly you get to do more and more instead of less and less. But it's difficult because there are some days when it really hurts and all you want to do is hide under a duvet. And you don't want to deal with it and you don't want to push back against the pain because it's an ongoing battle and you've done it every day for the last 20 years. And you just want a normal day. But you can't get a normal day because there's always the pain. So because when you're at the pain clinic, you're focusing on the pain because you're learning about what the pain is. You're learning about how it works. You're learning it more technically than I can explain because there are all sorts of long medical sounding words that I never can remember and never have been able to. And There's all of that goes on. And so you're giving the pain a lot of attention. And so because you're giving the pain all the attention, it goes, get in there. I'm going to do this. And it rises to the challenge. And so it feels like you're taking a backward step when you go to the pain clinic. They're teaching me all these things. I'm trying to do all this stuff. I'm thinking about it all the time. I'm working on it constantly. And it's getting worse. But gradually, as those things that you put in place become automatic to some extent, and you're not thinking about it, you're not deliberately thinking about it so much, it gets easier and you start to win back against the pain, as it were, and you start to be able to push back against it rather than it constantly pushing back against you. And I kind of think about it as me taking the battle to it rather than it bringing the battle to me. And I do it on my terms. I'm not doing it on the pain's terms, because I'm going to hurt regardless. So what are my choices? I can go back to bed, which sometimes I do, or I can go out and do the thing. If I go back to bed, I've missed out on whatever the thing was. That happens. If I go out and do the thing, I'm in pain, but I was going to be in pain anyway. So I've not lost anything, but I've also gone out and done the thing. So it just makes it that bit better. It's really difficult for those closest to you because they see you getting worse. And they think, well, it's not working. They were so much better before they started going to the pain clinic. Why are they carrying on doing this? It wasn't working. Can we not just go and get something prescribed? Can you not just take a pill? How can we fix it for them? How can we help? What can I do to help you? Unfortunately, the answer is not lots, because it's our battle. Sometimes we need people to listen and just be like, yeah, it's really shit, isn't it? I'm sorry you're going through that. But I think it's really difficult for my husband because he likes to be able to fix things, and he can't fix this. And he wants to fix this. And when I moan about it because it's horrible, he wants to sort that out for me. He wants to be able to take that away and to me not have it anymore. And he can't, because it's my battle. And it's a lonely battle, which is why finding other people that are in the same battle or a similar battle is so important, because they're the people you can go, I've had such a bad day today. And they go, oh, mate, I had one last week. It's awful, isn't it? And you think, I'm not in this alone, even though it feels like I am. And that's vital. Absolutely vital. I don't know if I answered your question then. I think I rambled on.
You don't think you answered? Firstly, you're the first guest that's made me teary, talking about a subject that I should be well and truly used to by now. But secondly, I think that 10 minutes for me personally was the most important 10 minutes we've ever had on the show, genuinely. And that's not doing other guests a disservice. It's just the words you spoke could have literally come out of my mouth in terms of that experience. And I'll be quick because I know I'm conscious of your time and everything. But like
I'm
things
good.
like, the bed day. So like I'll often talk to my wife, like, and it's a really hard conversation to have in the advocacy space because there are other people in different parts of their journey, and if they haven't gone through that sort of pain management stuff, it's a really hard thing to say that laying in bed doesn't fix anything. But for me, I'm now at that place where I know physically it's not going to get rid of anything. If I have a bed day, it's because I need it mentally. Do you know what I mean? And I'm really honest with myself about that now. But 2-3 years ago I wasn't, and it was like, oh, I need to rest, and I'll tell work I'm having a bed rest day. But I now know that physically it does nothing for me. It's a mental, it'll be depression. I've got to that point where I can't face the day, and that's okay. As long as you put a limit on it and you say, right, for one day, I'm going to do that, and you're open with people. I just saw Near Cheeks has put, I'm a fixer too. Yeah, my wife absolutely is. And I think that's why I've put so much strain on our relationship over the last few years as well. Like it probably has your other half. And it is so hard. And everything you said was absolutely perfect to the point. I'm going to clip that, and that could literally be its own mini podcast episode on its own. So just thank you for sharing that. And guys, anyone that wants to talk to Petra or myself, I know Petra's really open about this stuff, and I am.
Yeah.
And we've got other people in the chat as well. It's what we're here for on Sunday nights. And we'll get onto that peer support bit in a minute. But anyone who wants to sort of like ask more about that, because I think you probably do it as well, don't you, Petra? But I now go to my local pain management clinic and talk occasionally, or try and
I don't actually. I don't have any links to my local pain clinic because
I'll write to them.
Where I went to the pain clinic is in a different NHS area to where I am now, because we've moved house since. I have got vague links with another pain clinic that lives very, very close, that operates very close, but it's not my area necessarily. And I am going to get in contact with them and offer my services, because it is really important to do.
So basically what I do, if and the thing is, you said it really earlier on in our conversation, where you're kind of preaching to the choir with pain management. By the time you get to pain management, they know the value of distraction, they know the value of hobbies, socialization, and how I went from being super social to like literally a couple of weeks ago acknowledging that I have no real world friends anymore, like which is why I still find myself how I introduce you tonight, saying I always put this safety net thing in, because I'm well aware of like that what that pain has done to me socially. So what I do is I just go in first session or two of the group therapy stuff and just try and get people to ride it out, because I was so skeptical. I had no interest in sharing my experiences with a room full of other people in pain. I thought it would make me worse. And like you say, the first few weeks is rough, and it's therefore you almost get that what's it called, like evidence sort of confirmation thing. Is it confirmation bias? I can't remember.
See, it's getting worse. I told you it would. I told you it wouldn't work. I'm getting worse.
The evidence, and therefore you want to quit. So like, I think it's really important that people like you and Anne and others that we've had on the show get places in those for people like me, where I was a couple of years ago, to just remind people, just give it a chance. And I remember the one bit I was going to, I don't want to talk too much because you're the guest, but the one bit I was going to quit at, and I don't know if they've done something similar for you, they got us to go and find like a sweet or a chocolate in the house. So I found a Malteser, and I just had to put it on my tongue and leave it and think about what it was doing and the dissolving and how it tasted, and made it last. And I literally text my wife saying, this is bullshit. I got no interest in it. And then you suddenly realize, for 10 minutes I felt nothing. And the way I started to allow my brain to accept it and let it in, guys, for anyone sort of listening back, sort of wanting that sort of help, think of it like tattoos. You have a tattoo, and when you're looking down and when it first starts, it hurts like hell. But then you find you spend 10 minutes talking to the tattooist about The Walking Dead or whatever it might be on telly, and you realize that half an hour you didn't notice anything. And that's exactly the same principle, isn't it?
No, absolutely. And I think this is going to sound really odd to people that aren't in pain. I feel really lucky in my pain journey. So despite the fact I currently have no NHS help with my pain, I feel lucky in that ever since I was young, I've kind of understood that your pain will vary. So I remember reading, Mum and Dad always used to get Reader's Digests. And so there'd always be this big pile of Reader's Digests in the house. And I'd just sit, because I read everything. It was before the internet, friend, before the internet. So you had to read actual books and things. And so I would just sit and I would read anything that was sat still long enough. I would be reading it. And I still remember there was I can't remember what the story was. I can't remember what it was about. I can't remember anything about it other than it saying, well, pain is relative. Think about when you stub your toe compared to when you're in the middle of a sports match and you get tackled. You feel the tackle a lot less than you feel stubbing your toe, but there's probably a hell of a lot more impact when you're tackled. Now, that kind of, pain is different. So at that point, even as a child, I thought, well, if I bump myself, it's not that bad. I can keep, And then when I was first told that I had this pain, when this pain in my hip just wouldn't seem to go away, and people kept saying things like chronic pain, I Googled, it wasn't even Google, I looked on YouTube and looked for chronic pain and stumbled across, completely by chance, the work of Lorimer Moseley, who is one of the world's leading pain research, is physio leading the world in pain research, basically. And there was a 5-minute video with a cartoon where he was explaining what pain was and how chronic pain is different to acute pain. And I found that very, very early. So because of that, I always thought I can do something about this. So I never got the to the point of this is all completely hopeless, because I'd always been sort of primed, actually, no, maybe there is a different way of thinking about it. Maybe I can do something about it. And that's why I say that I was lucky, because I kind of had that in the back of my mind to start with before I ever got to a pain clinic. Which is, yeah, but I didn't know how to do it. And it was the pain clinic that kind of taught me how to do it. And so using, like you say, the mindfulness thing, I think we had raisins rather than chocolate, but yeah. And it was that whole kind of concentrate on there and do something different. And people say, when you say mindfulness, people roll their eyes at you, and because it's got this reputation as being what they tell you to do when they don't know what to do with you. But actually it does help. And I'm really sorry, everyone, but it helps.
Yeah.
Now, I have ADHD. Theoretically, it should be very difficult for me to do mindfulness. However, again, I was very lucky. And I'd done a course on Future Learn from Monash University about mindfulness. And again, the only thing I properly remember from that was them saying, yeah, you say your mind's always wandering, that you can't do it because your mind's always wandering. But the fact you've realized that your mind's always wandering proves that it's working, because mindfulness isn't stopping your mind wandering. It's watching what your brain's doing. So if you can tell me that your mind has been wandering, then the mindfulness is working.
Yeah.
And that made me go, oh,
so relatable.
well, shit.
When I realized I suddenly had insight, and it's like I couldn't stop it, and I think that's really important for people to remember that they're human, and even if you get really good at it, there will be times where you have them sort of setbacks. But once you get to that point where you can start acknowledging, and I learned some of that through some like intensive CBT as well. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, I've got these thoughts, they're trying to protect me, acknowledge them, and do what you want to do anyway. And once you can start sort of working with it. But I think the trouble is you hear things, don't you, like it's in your head, or there is no inflammation, or your scans are clear, and you instantly, because of society and how we're programmed and everything, it's like, oh, there must be something wrong with me. You know what I mean? And to stop fighting it and start working with it is such a long journey, isn't it? And to stop,
Yeah.
for me anyway, it was to stop looking for a fix. The energy I was putting into blaming people, wanting to blame a doctor or a medicine change or whatever it might have been, the minute I switched and started, and it wasn't an overnight thing, and started putting that energy into living with it and working with it and acknowledging it and letting it in, but not to the point to it beats me, but so I could just manage it. I don't know. It's like somebody opening the curtains on a sunny day. That's the only way I can sort of explain it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That idea that you can do something about it, but if you've used all your energy in fighting it, then you've got no energy left to do anything. So stop fighting.
Yeah.
And it's like the easiest. Somebody said about other things. Sometimes the only way to win the fight is not to take part, and that's kind of what I'm doing. So although earlier I did refer to me taking the battle to the pain, it's kind of different because I'm not. It's kind of me going out there and going, no, I'm going to do it anyway, rather than what am I doing? How can do? What can I? And you kind of, for those that are just listening to the podcast later, I was kind of miming, dodging, and trying to get out of the way of the pain, as it were. And so it's that whole kind of difference between taking it to it and being right, I'm going to hurt anyway, so you can come along with me if you like, but I'm going to do the thing. Or, like I say, not doing. And then what's your life? And because you're moving less, you do put weight on. That makes your pain worse. And then you can't get any help because you're overweight and in pain, and not just in pain, which you were before you put the weight on, because you were in pain. And so it's that whole kind of, yeah, it's that downward spiral, and it's just having to say, right, no, stop. I'm
It's
not
all
doing
fuel
this.
of the it's all
And
fuel
it's,
in the depression and low mood as well, isn't
yeah,
it? Like I know
but
me,
it's,
the weight is a big issue, just mentally, you know.
yeah, it's like, it's easy to try and let it win. It's like being on a helter-skelter. So you start sliding down, and it goes down and down and round and round and down and down. And that's you kind of battling your pain all the time, but it's kind of you going down, you're going, and then when you go, no, right, I'm going to do it anyway. It's like sort of you push your hands on the edge of the helter-skelter, and you stop yourself from going any further. But now you've got to climb back up the helter-skelter, and it's bloody hard work. It's much easier to sit down and go down, but you've got to keep going, and you go, and that, but then you do kind of get to the top, and you're still limping a bit, and you still, you know, but you get a much better view when you get to the top than if you keep going all the way down and sliding all the way down to the bottom. But it's hard work to get there. And yeah, it's really, really, yeah, it's just like it's the constancy, is that a word? The constantness, that it's
Yeah,
just constant all the time.
just relentless, isn't it?
Yeah, relentless, that's the word. And it just doesn't stop. I'm aware that I started a sentence and I don't know what the end of it was. My meds have run out. So my ADHD is just bouncing.
And
But
I'm well aware
I
I've
am
kept you
happy
long.
to, yeah, no, it's okay. I am happy to answer questions if people do have questions. I'm happy to stay on a bit longer and answer questions if people want to ask me them. I'm happy to talk about any aspect of my pain whatsoever, because the more open I am, the more people understand about chronic pain, and I'm absolutely happy to do that. Equally, if you're knackered and want to get off and want me to go away because of that, I'm also happy to do that too.
No,
So
it's quite
you know,
ironic how what we've been talking about tonight. So as Nia Cheeks in chat will contest, it's like I spend all day saying I can't do this, I feel rubbish, finding excuses, and then I start it and it becomes a distraction, and I come off absolutely bouncing from it,
yeah.
and then I have to recycle it all over again tomorrow. So it's no issue for me. I'm just conscious of your
Cool.
time, especially on a Sunday night. But just I think there's so many shared experiences, but I like the different shades on it. You know, for example, I hit rock bottom before I went to pain management. You sort of got in there a little bit earlier, but there's all these sort of common threads where I think it's really important that we talk about it, because, like, for example, for me, and I know it's not about me, but I think I'm just conscious of anyone listening to this back or any, if you need to get evidence to help you as well, accept and let some of this sit in, go get it. So for me, my rheumatologist said there's no inflammation, you have a no active arthritis flare, and I didn't buy it. I just, whatever my brain could not process, that I was feeling all this pain and the scans were clear. So then I went and found physiotherapists that said everything looks good. And then I went and demanded full MRI scans of my spine and neck. And again, that come back, apart from a bit of wear and tear, there is nothing you can do that can make it worse. There's nothing going on there. And it was only then when I started then accepting, okay, Joel, mentally now you have just got to face this mountain in front of you. And it's really important for people to remember as well, I think. It's like when you're fit and healthy, you're also fit and healthy and not in pain. And then fast forward 3 or 4 years, like positions I'm in now, and you were probably by the sounds of it similar. You're not only not fit and healthy, you're overweight, you're in all this pain, you're dealing with things like fatigue and brain fog, which you might have never dealt with before. And that is like running a marathon to try and get back where
Yeah.
you were and get some momentum to start breaking down that pain and get the movement back and everything else, isn't it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I went, like I say, from being able to walk 26 miles from refereeing roller derby, which is pretty intense, to being able to do these things, for getting around, being able to do stuff, to not being able to walk the mile from my house into town. Now that makes you feel useless. Because the other thing you do is not only do you compare yourself to other people, you compare yourself to the you before the pain. And that's just as counterproductive as comparing yourself to any other person, because effectively that is a different person, you know. And every sort of, it's those days when I do compare myself to what I used to be able to do. They're the days I end up in bed, because I look at what I used to be able to do, you know, roller skating at speed whilst refereeing and making decisions for an hour constantly, just going 1, 2, every time. Now, I don't know if you've ever spent any time on roller skates, but that's hard work.
It
And
wouldn't
it
end well for my knees if I did, but I can imagine.
but it's, and it's just, and I could do it, and it was fine. It was, I was exhausted, but it was fine. I could walk a long way. I've never been able to run. I've never been a runner. I still maintain you never see a happy jogger, but that's a whole other story. Um, and but and it's just that constant kind of having to get up and deal with it. And when you having that all the time, and then you think, but I used to, so now I'm useless.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're not, because you know so often, and I'm going to get onto a slightly different topic here because I do that, but we judge our worth by whether or not we can hold down a job, by um, by those sorts of monetary values, because we live in this capitalist society that money is what's valued. And often people with chronic pain find it very, very difficult to hold down a traditional job because it isn't built. The working world is not built for people in chronic pain that need to take rest breaks at bizarre times and need to be able to come in late one day and are happy to work back late another day to deal with it. But if they lock the office at 5, that's no good at all. Easier if you've got remote working, but that's happening less and less now again. Anyway, and so often, not only are you in pain, not only can you not do what you used to do before, you end up having to give your job up. You end up, just feeling like everything that you built yourself on no longer applies. And the person you thought you were isn't. And so you have to, um, you have to reevaluate what's actually important. And so, I don't work, but I can come on here and I relate to people, and I can see the comments, and I can see the things that people have said. I can see the way you reacted, and clearly what I say has an impact on people, and clearly what I'm saying can help somebody. And if that's the impact I had, if the impact I had was to help another person be able to go on and live their best life, then my God, that's worth doing. That's so much more worth doing than working a 9-to-5 job in an office. I mean, it doesn't pay very well, but it's worth doing. And it's, if there was a way of also making a living whilst helping people, that would be ideal. I haven't worked it out yet. We'll get there.
That's a bit of an dilemma, and the trouble is, once you have seen that other side, it is so hard then to it's like I say, someone switching on the light, isn't it? And it's very hard to get fulfillment and satisfaction and motivation in anything else you do when and it is a gift, Petra. And like me and you have had very similar experiences, and yet I'm still hanging on every word. It's a gift, so it's good that you make time for it, because as somebody who does similar, I know how hard and the unseen stuff behind that, and the messages and all the other stuff that you do that people don't see, that isn't like a social media sharing thing. It does make.
Well, this is it. I mean, I often bob around places where there are many people with chronic pain, one of which is Joel's Discord, incidentally, and it's well worth going in there because it's one of the few places I know I can go, I'm having a rough time, and someone will just give me a hug and say, yeah, we're there. Do you want to talk about it? I very often don't want to talk about it. I just need other people to know, because somehow that helps. So it's well worth having a look at Joel's community, getting into Joel's Discord, going and seeing him over on Twitch and stuff, because it's a really supportive, helpful community that look after each other. And that's kind of the important thing, especially for me, not having that NHS support as well. So I do, all of the support I get comes from peer support. And so having places like Joel's Discord, like the Footsteps Festival. So Anne, that's in chat, and Livingston, runs a craft group on a Wednesday lunchtime. That's well worth looking up as well. If you go to I can't remember what the website is off the top of my head,
If
because
Anne wants
it's
to put
just
it in
there.
chat, I'll share it on screen so everyone can see it, whether they're
Excellent.
watching it back or not.
So yes, and that craft group, they do other things for those that are more those that are quite, well, not even very academically minded, but want to know what's going on in the world of pain research. They do a journal club where you look at papers that have been put out that often have a link to pain and things like that, and you can go and you can talk to other people, and you can view it through the lens of a person in pain rather than a researcher, and you go, well, what happened with this and what happens with that? And through doing those sorts of things, I've been involved with people's research that they're doing in various universities regarding pain, because they've asked if people that in chronic pain can help them out. And it's, sorry, I've just seen Phoenix Paul's comment and I was nearly in tears there.
Yeah,
thank you, Phoenix Paul. But yeah, it's being able to sort of give back in that way. So being able to give my experience as an experienced person with chronic pain. I've been living with it a hell of a long time now. I know what I'm doing. I don't always do it very well, but I do know what to do. And there was another thing, there was another point, but it's left. Never mind. We'll leave it there.
I think you got a suitable distraction though, excuse after that comment, because that's absolutely lovely. And I think it's also, it's good that you get that feedback, because you know, as somebody that also streams and everything else, sometimes it can feel like you're banging your head against the wall or you're not making any sort of progress. And then your community will just remind you of like why you get out of bed in the morning sometimes. And I think the thing is as well, guys, for anyone watching or listening to this back, you know, that bubble can be tiny. It doesn't need to be in a world of social media and people chasing 10,000 Instagram followers and all that nonsense. And I'm quite vocal on a lot of that. It really doesn't, like, our communities like really small, but we all know each other. You know, we know where we're what part of the world we're from. We know the name of our dogs, and you know, all that sort of stuff. And it doesn't, and half the time I'm not leaning on them in terms of, I'm not going into the support forum on Discord and saying, oh, can I have help with X, Y, and Z? It's more that social leaning, isn't it? Where like just knowing you're not alone, or someone you can say us a bit shit, and I think we've both used that term now, so that's like a catchphrase. You can say us a bit shit, and people know it, you know.
I do have badges that say I'm a bit shit sometimes. It's from another thing that I do, which is I'm going to mention it on here, but it's a thing, an organisation called Camarados. There's a lot that goes on over down your way, actually. Though I know people that do stuff with them down your way.
Right.
And basically, they set up public living rooms just anywhere, like on the street, in a you know, just anywhere. So I've been involved with, they'll just drive up with a van, bring out a couple of sofas, a table, a lamp, and some games, and just set them up on a street corner, and they'll stay there till they get moved on. But what happens is you sit down and you talk to people. So you don't have to solve anything for anyone. That's one of their principles. No fixing. You're not there to fix someone's problem. You're just there to be a human. And you sit next to them and you have a conversation. And then when you're finished, you move on. But just having that human connection can make more difference than someone saying, oh, but have you looked at this? And have you seen this group? And do you know about this? And have you tried to get help there? And have you spoken to this person? Because then what you do is you've come away with admin. You've not come away with reassurance. So, I mean, sometimes that is what you need. That's really helpful. But yeah, that's it, camaradas.org. And yes, it is. And they're great. And they just like I say, set up these public living rooms, and they're all over the world. They're down in New Zealand, they're over in America, they've got them in Oz. There used to be some in Berlin and over in Germany. I don't know if there still are, but they're all over the place. And it's just dead nice. And you have disagreements, but one of their rules is you have to disagree respectfully. And if people don't, then they'll chuck you out, because you have to be respectful to people. And I've been involved with them for a long time, and they have been a huge help to me, because I can go and have a moan. And instead of somebody trying to fix me, what they'll do is they'll give you a job to do of some description, because they say if someone's struggling, ask them to help you, because it gives you a sense of purpose. Now, you know, on your worst days when you've not had anything to do and your pain has been at your worst and you're in bed and you feel useless, if someone says, "Can you help me?" it makes you feel $1 million, because even in that state, someone needed you and therefore you've got a use. And it feels counterproductive to say if someone's struggling, ask them to help you. But you know what? It can work. And I've watched it work and I've seen it happen. And people come back, not everyone, some people come back if you hold a regular living room. And gradually, bit by bit, you realise over the year they've been coming in, they've managed to get out of that house where the landlord was treating them badly. They've managed to apply for the benefit they've been putting off for years. They've managed to do things because people were treating them as a human. Nobody's helped them with it. Nobody's sat down and filled a form in for them. But it's given them the confidence to think, I deserve to be a person. And I carry a lot of that over into my pain management stuff and my when I relate to other people with pain, because so much of it is transferable. And it really, really helps. Because human connection is one of the most important things. So yeah, so the
It
person,
shows though as well. I'd just like to say it does show, and just I know I should be focusing on our guest, but the same as like Anne, you know, the stuff that you and Anne
yeah,
and others in that circle just drop into my inbox occasionally, where you can see I'm wobbling way before Joe Public can, or other people sort of closer to me might see it, and yeah, and it shows that compassion and that having that different perspective as well. I think of like,
yeah,
you know, knowing what to say in a slightly different way that just sort of reminds us that, you know, we still add value, because you used the word useless earlier and I literally use it every single week in my life. I'm still working on that. But that is that sort of like that feeling, that need to add value, isn't it? And
yeah.
and not be a drain or a burden. So yeah, I just want to compliment you on that, because it definitely shows.
Thank you. But yeah, it's a weird world, and there's a lot of time I wish I wasn't a part of it, because then I wouldn't be in pain, but then I wouldn't be me, and I wouldn't be the person I am.
Yeah.
So as much as I detest this pain and I wouldn't wish it on anyone, it's part of what's made me who I am, because almost my entire adult life I've been in pain.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm 46 now. I've been in pain since, well, since I was, what, 25, 24, 25. So most of my adult life I've been in pain. So it is a part of what's made me who I am. And as much as I detest it, I'm also kind of grateful to it, because I don't think I'd be as willing to sit and listen, because I've had to slow down, so I've got time to listen. I wouldn't be as able to relate to people, because I've had to sit and stop and listen to people and realize what they're going through, and be able to pick up those little cues that you don't spot unless you've been in pain. And, you know, all of those things that I value in myself, and many of them are because I am in chronic pain. And I don't know who I'd be without it. Sometimes I think, oh, I could be this, I could be doing that, I could be, I could be running my own business, I could be doing X, Y, Z, I could be, but would I still be me? Who knows? So as much as I detest it, I am also grateful to it.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
it gives you time to sort of like consume different perspectives that in everyday life you wouldn't have. You know,
yeah,
there's definitely things that I've done the last few years I would have never have done without
yeah,
the passion for this, or the empathy it gives you, or whatever that, you know, I don't really know how to describe it, but you know, me going halfway across the world on a plane solo just is not something that would have happened for any
yeah,
other purpose, you know, other than maybe Dylan. He's 18, he's gone backpacking and he's asked me to
yeah,
come rescue him from somewhere. There isn't a lot of things that would
yeah,
get me to do that, you know. And but for me, I think it was like it showed a side of me that I didn't know I had, but it's because I had time. Like I think you used similar words there. And it gave me time to like
yeah.
listen
Yeah.
and
It
learn.
made me
And
stop and listen. It gives you
yeah,
that time to kind of
yeah,
pause and think, well, I can't do, So what, I can't go and do, so I can stay and be. And I'm more myself now than I've been before. So, it's it is shit, but it's also been a blessing. And that's a weird contradiction, but it's true.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think, and I can see from chat other people relate to it, and I know, I definitely do. And I had an OT once, actually a pain management OT. If you're watching, sorry, I respect you, but like she was like, just don't become Mr. Arthritis. I remember her saying it, just don't, because she could see the route I was going down, and I get that, and actually that influenced me then getting involved in other areas like the mental health thing and men and parenting and stuff like that, because I sort of remembered those words, but actually at the time I thought, well, it kind of helped me, almost like we talked earlier about letting it in, and almost like having that label or whatever you want to, it kind of like wearing that hat did allow me to accept it a bit. It definitely got to a point then where it was unhealthy and I had to let some of that go, and I couldn't be a fixer for everyone and all this sort of stuff. But there was definitely part of that grieving process, which comes up a lot on the show.
Yeah.
That helped, taking in those stories. And I guess that's one of the reasons I still do this on a Sunday night, just to keep my finger on the pulse and remind me so I don't slip back down that path. It's therapy, isn't it? That peer support and everything
Definitely.
else.
And I'll always tell you if I think you're going down that way.
Yeah.
I'll just go and say, "Oi, Joel, hang on."
Yeah, I absolutely loved your DM the other day, or message on Discord, wherever it was, and so like I say, between you, Anne, and a couple of others, I was soon I feel like I get pinballed around and back into the right place pretty quickly, which is exactly what I need. This is I'm well aware, by the way, guys, for anyone at home, I normally do coffee shop sort of conversation things. They tend to be very informal. Tonight was one of the nights where I actually prepared a script, and we've done, I don't think we've really done any of it. So apologies, Petra, if that's thrown you, but this.
No, it's been okay, because I kind of knew
amazing.
where we were kind of thinking of going, and because there was somewhere we were thinking of going, that was fine. If we went off it, I'm used to tangents. That was fine, but as long as I knew where we were headed to start with,
Yeah.
it didn't matter if we got there or not. The journey is the thing, isn't it? But
Yeah, and I'm well aware that we've gone way over the 40 minutes I said I'd need you
we
for.
have,
So thank you so
I
much.
didn't realise what time it was.
Yeah, I
Wow.
know. So I'm very conscious of of your time, and also medication demands and stuff like that. So I'm going to let you go at this point, because I'm very grateful, and everything you've said has been so powerful. You, without doubt, you've broken all sorts of chat records on this show. Like we get lots of comments on the videos months down the line, but live chat is, yes, by far the most engaged I've seen it. So thanks for everybody that's watching this live and has got involved. Before you do go there, Petra, we talked a lot about things like Twitch and stuff like that. And you've been so kind in plugging me, and you really didn't have to. Where can people find you so they can hear more of your awesome wisdom and lived experience?
Cool. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't being kind. I was being truthful. That's a different thing entirely. But yeah, so I stream over on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/Petra Phoenix. Phoenix is a really difficult word to spell. I'm really sorry. I didn't think about that. I just made up the. But yeah, Petra Phoenix on Twitch. You can also find me. I don't have traditional social media because it wasn't good for my mental health. So I've got a Fediverse account on Mastodon, which is at petraphoenix@mendeddrum.org. And you can interact with me on there. I like chatting with people on there, so that's great. In fact, I think that's where we first bumped into each other, isn't it?
It
Over
was,
there. And then we happened to be on a video call, and I was like,
yeah, that is the weirdest thing, because there wasn't that much of a time gap either.
No.
So it was almost like the universe just like put us in the same place at the same time. But
and can I just say thank you to the people that have come over, that I have recognised names from my chat on Twitch who have come over and supported me, and thank you so much for being here. It's been absolutely delightful to spot your names popping up and supporting me and being there for me. Yeah, you're an absolute delight. So yeah, my Twitch community is a really lovely place. People are really supportive of each other, and just generally kind of look after each other and make sure we're all right. And that's just what I'm trying to do, because I can't change the world, but I can change my little sphere. So if I can help the people around me, and then they go on and help the people around them, then the world will change eventually. But I can't do the whole thing all at once. So there's no point me even trying. So I'm just going to do my little bit and support the people there. And if we can all
Absolutely.
do that, the world's going to be a much better place.
Yeah, what a
So,
great way to end. And I think for anyone watching this back or listening to this back, guys, I'll put as many links as I can in the show notes, and where you can find Petra. And also on my Twitch channel, Petra is one of the few people I have that are recommended when she's live and I'm not. So if you head over to my channel, you will find a link on there on the homepage to Petra's if you don't find
thank
it.
you.
Any via the links we've provided. Petra, thank you so much. And also to the doggo,
Yeah.
which is having the
Yeah.
time of its life. I'm getting love
Yeah.
there during
You're
the
going to say
interview.
bye-bye, tiny dog. Yeah. Oh, waving your tail at everyone. Well done. Good girl.
Well, thank you so much for everything, Petra. And yeah, don't be a stranger. We'd love to have you back again
Yeah.
one day as well. That'd be great.
Lovely. Would love to. Yeah. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Joel. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
Enjoy your evening. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, guys, let me just bring chat back up because chat has just been a joy to be a witness to tonight, guys. I hope you really enjoyed that or enjoyed that as much as I did. Like some of the comments was absolutely lovely. Thank you to everyone who come over the first time and got involved. To anyone that's new to live streaming or well, I know how daunting that is when I found Petra's channel. I probably sat and watched for about an hour before I put my hand up and said hello. And so I really appreciate everybody getting involved because it really is what we're here for. Like we do the interviews to get that content to then be able to get it out there in the hope that, well, two reasons. One, it lands with somebody that needs to hear it, the place I was in 3 or 4 years ago, or it helps address some of the stigma or educate someone. For example, Ricky, you'd put in the comment about how you were learning about all these different conditions. That's great. But on the Sunday night in the here and now when we're live, what's gone on in chat tonight is exactly why we're here. That peer support that we talked about. We were supposed to talk about peer support a lot more, but we were having far too much fun talking about our shared experience. I see Petra in the green room laughing as well. I was like, it was an absolute joy. And not being funny, guys, like, you know what YouTube's like. I'm never going to please everyone. I'm always going to get the odd negative comment, but frankly, I don't care. I think these sort of casual, sitting in someone's living room, coffee shop chat, whatever you want to call it, that format is exactly the way to have these conversations. I think if we and the formal ones have got their place. So, for example, on the 3rd of September, I'll be here with a couple of science people, some people from a clothing company and a skincare company, and we maybe talk about more of that, the scientific side of things. But when we're talking about lived experience, it needs to be in a format where it can connect, where people can relate to it, can consume it in a way that's human. And therefore, that's why we go off on tangents because, our experiences aren't linear either. So it's all interlinked. So yeah, I hope you enjoy that. Michelle, thank you so much. It's really, and it's great to see you in here as well, guys. If you haven't already, please do hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Loads you have today, which has really shocked me. We tend to be a real slow burn channel. Every now and then, an old video randomly get a load of views, but for whatever reason today, things went a bit mad. Like we had people in the waiting room for this event from an hour before we went live, which just blew my mind. So thank you so much. And there's lots more to come as well. So we try to do this every Sunday night. We are a chronic illness show, so sometimes I'm ill, like I'm a bit under the weather tonight. Sometimes our guests are ill. So anyone that turned up last Sunday, expecting to see Rebecca, apologies. We did reschedule it for Thursday last week, just gone, but she was still unwell. But if we're not here on a particular Sunday night, that's why. But we try to be here most Sundays, and we've got some awesome guests coming up, guys. We've got our first, I talked about first, like scientific CEO, sort of medical founder coming up. We've got a skin doctor, psychologist coming up, which will be huge. Somebody that works really closely with the British Skin Foundation, and also a lecturer. So I'm really looking forward to delving into sort of like the way skin conditions affect people's psychologically. There we go. We got there in the end. Yeah, and we've got all sorts of, and we've also got patient organisations and things like that now starting to approach us to want to come on. So hopefully we can get it nice and varied for you guys. We'll keep it as a chronic pain club. We know it's not always about pain anymore. It's basically lived experience, but I don't know if the lived experience talk show has the same ring to it. But yeah, thank you. I'll come back and talk about peer support another time. That'd be awesome, Petra. Yeah, let's have a dedicated peer support. Maybe we do I'd like to do more round table ones as well. By the way, guys, I'm looking to do later in the year at some point one that involves caregivers. I've managed to twist Nia Cheeks' arm into coming on. I'd like another 2 people. So if we've got any regular viewers here that are caregivers who want to talk about what that's like from a caregiver perspective. We won't be talking about your specific conditions, but the people that you support, either in pain or with a long-term health condition. Please do get involved, because we know that 50% of our audience is about, roughly, don't quote me on that. About half of our audience are caregivers. So I'd really like to do a bit more around that. What other comments have we had? Snuffle said this was truly amazing interview, very powerful to listen to. Thank you for joining the Snuffle, mate. Really appreciate it. Jansen said Petra equals very good egg indeed. And like I say, another tool in my arsenal, Petra, is because when I have a wobble, I'm going to get a good shake, and I need that sometimes. As I saw Nia Cheeks was hinting at in the chat earlier. Nia Cheeks, embrace yourself, guys. Is that for you kicking me up the backside, or for you coming on the stream? Yeah, we've also Lauren in chat. You can see he'll be also be joining us in October as a guest as well, which I look forward to. Ricky, do I count as a caregiver? The amount of support you give us over on Twitch, I'm counting you as a caregiver. It might be more financial, but you also keep me in check as well. And this is the thing, guys. When we talk about support networks and peer support, that can take a number of different shapes and form. Like, this is no disrespect to my family or anything, but I don't see my family as my support network. My support network is you guys and my Twitch community and the people that are replying to all my stupid posts on Facebook about Dylan and the dog. And, so it can take many forms. And that's one of the ways we try to accommodate by doing this on a Sunday night. And it's why I don't do the interview and just cut to black and everything's offline. We stick around in case anyone needs to decompress, anyone wants to chat, anyone wants to turn it into a bit of a social. We've even had people on here who have arranged things off the back of it, who have said in chat, "Oh, is anyone going to play Minecraft? I'll see you over there in a minute." That's cool as well. Anything where we can try and bridge that to bring people together and help them get through the day. Then that's what we're here for. And also keep sending me ideas, guys. Like we've got the Minecraft SMP, we've got the Discord, we've got all those other sort of things. If anyone's got an idea of an area where we could meet people where they are and help a bit more, I only have so many hours in a day. I definitely need to cut some fat somewhere and focus. Like this week alone, I've got articles due and streams due and like work coming out my ears, and that's why you don't see the YouTube videos and the podcast coming out very quickly. If anyone's got any ideas about what we could do to reach more people, or if you could help me get that content out a little bit quicker, please let me know. One of the things I'm looking for is for anyone that's maybe like a college student or something, media studies or something, and wants some experience with the video edit and stuff, more than happy to open that to somebody that needs that experience, if they could help me get through that a little bit quicker. And also, I hate saying this because it makes me feel dirty, but we are getting to that point where, like, if you're watching this and you'd be interested in sponsoring to help us, I'd like to be able to compensate, I guess, a little way. We want to be able to do it financially, but even if we could just send them out a little goodie pack or something as a gesture of goodwill, if anything like that, if anyone can help us reach more people, please do get in touch. Amazing talk, Petra. Absolutely, Lauren. Absolutely, guys. Does anyone else have anything else they want to share? I would like to just say a quick thank you as well for everyone that turned up, because I know I talk about this regularly, and for my regulars, I'm sorry you have to hear this again, but probably every 3 out of 5 of these shows, I'm not very good at fractions of percentages, let's just say 3 out of 5, I will get to Sunday afternoon and just want to kill it all and burn it all down and not do it. And it isn't because I don't enjoy these, because I love these. It's literally in the moment, it's the highlight of my week. It makes me feel better. It makes me forget about Monday morning, or whatever else is going on in my world, or that pain I've got, or whatever. But mentally, that's my biggest battle, is that I will want to cancel everything. I want to isolate. I want to shut the door and not interact with people because of my pain and the way it makes me feel. So most weeks I go through that mental battle where I do not want to, and it ruins my Sunday sometimes. Sometimes we'll go as a family and my wife will know I'm not present, and I'll know I'm not present because I'm worrying about this or letting people down, because I'm in my mind, I'm already halfway to canceling it. So thank you to you guys who turn up and make this show what it is, because it's not something that comes naturally to me, but every week we're growing and it just amazes me. I'm always going to have imposter syndrome, but I also know in the back of my mind I'm always going to turn up and keep doing this, because as Petra talked about earlier, it feels like a really special thing to be able to help people and connect people. And even if I haven't got the words or the experience or my thick Norfolk accent doesn't do some of those experiences justice, I can at least put you guys in touch, and that feels like a special thing to do. Joel, I see guitars in the background. Do you ever stream music? No, but my confidence is getting closer, Janston. So Petra mentioned it earlier, in the conversation about, when you go, you're at the bottom and you don't want to return to those things because it's almost like you go to the gym and you used to be able to lift X and now you can't, or you used to run and now you can't, or you used to walk 10 miles and now you can only walk two. Um, for a long while, for 10 years, in fact, all of my guitars were in storage, and pain management actually encouraged me to start getting them out. Um, and that still was a big long time between me actually having them on display and me picking them up, because it was really hard. My fingers have took some damage, are a little bit wonky. I can't turn my wrist over flat, so whereas my hand should be like there, it's sort of like at that angle. I can force it, but I can't hold it there. Um and I can't play to the level I used to, but I'm gradually getting there through sheer determination and with the help of pain management as well, by trying to appreciate the moment, how music makes me feel when I play, rather than, "Oh, I used to be really good when I was 20 and touring the country in a band." I'm never going to be that guitar player anymore. But it doesn't mean I can't enjoy music. And it's a bit like that comment I put in chat earlier when saying just you fail at something, it doesn't make you a failure. So I'm trying to enjoy that a lot more. Um, and I went for an audition the other day, which is huge for me, to go into a room of other musicians who I don't know. And everyone, you're the focus, just basically a job interview for 2 hours. um, yeah, that was terrifying, but I'd done that. And I think, I don't know if Kevin is with us. I know Lauren's with us. The other night, because it came up in conversation, somebody was learning to play banjo when we were on Twitch. I did randomly grab my acoustic and played Deliverance. I actually remembered it somehow, or Dueling Banjos, whatever the song's called. And I've never done that on Twitch. So gradually, this community is building me back up to have that confidence to do that. So watch this space. It's never going to be great. I was in a punk band for like 10 years, three-piece punk band. So sounding technically perfect wasn't really the aim. But yeah, I'm getting there. I'm gradually getting there. Um, what have I missed? Welcome in Queen Bob, or Drama Llama, whatever your preference is. Um, took me too long to change his name. Thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for joining us, Bob. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. Community band. You joke, Nia. I put it on Facebook a couple of months back. I've got so many song ideas based around like pain and our experiences. For anyone who's interested now, I'll have to dig it up. There's a Facebook post I did where I done a fantasy set list of what our songs would be called. I can't even, does anyone remember what they were? But that was good fun doing that, where we basically just come up with a load of made up song titles of have you tried yoga, or whatever it might have looked like. Just the stuff that we encounter. I would love to get a band together just to do some gimmicky, stupid songs like that. And I guarantee if we chuck that on Spotify, I know at least 1,000 people on Instagram that would laugh it up. Let's make it happen. We'll do it over Zoom. Nobody just gets called Bob, but you do. Okay, whatever. Yeah, whatever your preference is to be called. There with the choice of 4 words I've got. Yeah, then I'll have to dig it up. It's on my Facebook page somewhere. Yeah, if you go to Joel versus Arthritis, all one word, VS Arthritis. Then yeah, on there we come up. I even come up with a tour name, and I can't remember what it was. I can't. Why am I being so thick? I can't. Yeah, brain fog. Sunday night. I'm not 100%. But I even came up with a tour name, and all sorts of things. Just 'cause I got too much time on my hands. Community tour bus. I could drive. Zero musical talent. Yeah, but Ricky, you're forgetting that I know you IRL, and you certainly can drive. Whether it's the type of driving I would want with a bus full of my mates in, I'm not sure. But thank you for the offer. It's very kind of you. It's very kind. I'm really annoyed that I really should um head over to Facebook and try and find that post, but I worry it's going to take me too long um to find it, and then I'm just going to bore you all whilst I'm looking on a different screen. Um, I'll have a quick search. How do you even search on Facebook anymore? How do you even search? Um, just because I'm wondering when people, once I've mentioned it, here we go. Right. I'm going to assume you're still with me because I'm looking on a different tab. So the set list, what the tour was called? What was the tour? Stick Your Turmeric Tour. No offense to anybody that finds that works for their condition. I've just had it forced upon me far too many times. But yeah, the tour was going to be called Stick Your Turmeric. And the set list was as follows. Uh, First was cancelled plans, then Another Day, Another Pill, The Fatigue, Invisible, The Burden, I Used to Be, Chapters, Clock Watching, Nobody Knows, Where Does It Hurt, Have You Tried Bullshit Theory, and Fear Tomorrow More Than the Past. So as you can see, I just said about how busy I am and I can't get my videos out on time, but clearly I've got enough time to come up with a fantasy band concept, including tour name and set list. But yeah, if anyone is in the East Anglia area and would like to do something real with that, give me a shout. Any other questions, guys? Anything else anyone wants to share? I'll just be a fanboy in the corner then. That's fine, Ricky. We all need them. We all need those ones that just hang around. I'll do stage crew. Awesome. Yeah, that'll be awesome. Especially because this band is not going to be able to lift their own gear. Let's just remember that. None of us are getting up and down on a stage with Ampeg amps. It's just not happening. We're going to have to demand accessibility on every venue we go to. I once played at the O2 in Islington, and all of the gear had to go up and down via stairs and lifts, and it was just I opted out at the end of the night. I'd done it getting in, but not going out. The world's most accessible tour. There we go. Yeah, Coldplay talking about everything being green and carbon neutral tour. We're going to do an accessibility tour. It's going to be awesome. If anyone wants to sponsor that, get in touch. Yeah, sorry if you also fall into that category. You're not being able to lift. Must admit, I struggle with my amps these days. I really do. So yeah, your pain might not be caused by anything, as in my case, but it doesn't mean it doesn't still bloody hurt when you try and lift heavy stuff. There's only so far mind over matter can get you. We need to wrap the bus in bubble wrap. Yeah, we're given. There's definitely got legs on this, guys. There's too much too many good ideas. Too many good ideas. I'll do backing vocals. There we go. That's one spot filled. I'll do bass and a bit of singing. This could be just like School of Rock. We'll follow Selby. Selby. I slipped into Twitch mode then. Ricky, you can design t-shirts or something, mate. What do you want to do, Amy? What would your role be? I've got to be careful on YouTube because I'm quite like sibling harsh on Amy over on Twitch. I don't think that'd probably work out so well on YouTube. Snack lady. We can't have a tuck shop instead of a merch stall in the corner. You got Nia running a tuck shop. Yeah, we got security sword. Awesome. Anyone good with lighting on the sound desk? Yeah, I was going to suggest Ivy for security, but I thought I'd just get a standard rude back from her. Um, no worries, Petra. Thank you for giving up so much of your time. We've way outstayed our welcome tonight, but it's only because chat has been so awesome. So thank you for the people you've brought along as well. They are wonderful. But thank you for giving up more than enough of your time. Really do appreciate it. Yeah, you're amazing. And I will try and do it justice. So like I say, I've got a very big backlog with the videos, but what I'm trying to do is when I do the top and tailed videos and taking out all of my waffle before and after like this, um, I'm trying to also do some clips as well. And there was a couple of bits there where I know they'll do really well as clips. So when I get round to it, I'll drop you a note. And same with the podcast episode as well. But there is probably about an 8-week delay, if not more, on that. But I'll try to get through them as soon as I can. I can play flute, Amy. I'm going to pick up jokes on Twitch with that. But thank you for offering to play flute, Amy. Uh, but I'm multi-streaming on YouTube to a wider audience, including LinkedIn. So I have to be very conscious of slipping into bad habits with my Twitch audience that are here, just teeing me up for failure. Sudoku plays recorder as well. We know Sudoku plays recorder. So yeah, we've already got a fairly strong wind section, which sounds good. So have we got any brass so we could do a bit of ska music? No merch, just snacks. Um, the amount of times I catch myself doing this on a Sunday night, guys, because I'm talking to mostly the same people we speak to on Twitch. We get a broader audience here. We get Facebook audience, which tends to be very different to Twitch. And then in the back of my mind, it's like, Joel, maybe you're on LinkedIn. So to all the professional people sharing motivational nonsense posts about something your toddler absolutely didn't say, hello. And if I swore, apologies, but I am who I am. Please still book me. Welcome in, Kevin. I hope you're well. Matthew plays tuba. I played flute 2 years. Did you, Nia? How that actually rings a bell, but like when we first got together, like years ago, there feels like a marriage joke there. I'm just going to stop. I'm going to stop because I'm going to get myself in trouble. I personally do not believe in music. You're missing out stuff, and we are going to convert you next time you're in Norwich, and we're gonna force you to. We'll let you lay in during the day. You can be like nocturnal and bring you out to the waterfront and convert you. Don't, Ricky, just don't. I used to play tenor horn. Oh, we can make something work. It's all about inclusivity and accessibility. It's gonna be like the most unaffordable tour ever. Can you imagine it? It's just gonna be people everywhere, buses for days, like all sorts of requests for hotel rooms and stuff. Like me demanding a bath because I can't move in the morning without a bath. It's just like gonna run up a huge bill. I watched The Greatest Showman recently. It's gonna be just like that tour. I absolutely bankrupt me. Rock the spoons, brilliant, Lauren. That's great. I think my ear might take a while to adjust to accepting the spoons, though. Like I find them very difficult to listen to. I won't walk around Ricky for 3 hours before, yeah, or go on a date as you two did. Yeah, Sai, you are absolutely. For anyone that's familiar with Nirvana, will know they had an English guy that used to dance on stage for absolutely no reason other than to be visual entertainment. So you are absolutely dancing. What was that guy called? The English guy that used to join Nirvana on stage. But anyway, you are absolutely being that guy, Sai. You're absolutely throwing shapes in the middle of the stage. Like we'll probably get hit by all the limbs and stuff between you and Nia, but yeah, you're absolutely doing that. Um, has anyone noticed, guys? It's the first time we've had social chat, proper social chat on YouTube. That feels like an achievement. This is the stuff we talk about over on Twitch, guys. I probably should. Have I even got a link to put up on screen? I haven't. Twitch.tv/Joel versus Arthritis. This is the nonsense that goes on in the streams. It's the first time it's happened over on YouTube. And like I say, in the back of my mind, I'm trying to tell myself also we are on LinkedIn, which is a little bit worrying for my professional advocacy work. But there we go. Just dance is fine. Sorry, dance is fine. Go speak to Ricky about your massages or something. Mind you, near cheeks would probably happily accept it. I need a walk-in shower, trust college. Yeah, it's going to be very expensive. It's going to be very expensive. It's going to be the world's longest rider. You know, by the time you've got all of like the heat packs, ice packs, painkillers, Rennies, stomach liners, whatever you need for your long-term health condition. It's going to be the world's longest rider. Voltarol gel, knee strap, walking sticks. The list is just going to go on and on. What's everyone up to in the week? I'm going to watch cricket. Oh, awesome. Who are you going to watch, Si? I'm in the cricket match for ages. I support Essex just because they're my nearest major county. It's my birthday tomorrow, which I feel miserable about because it's my last birthday. I've been in my 30s. Yeah, it's my birthday tomorrow, but I haven't really got any plans. I'll have to let you know. I could stream tomorrow night, guys, and hang out with you guys. I don't know. Imagine Nia's saving her budget for the 40th next year. Thank you for the link, Nia. Appreciate it. Yeah, apart from that, I haven't got a lot of plans for next week. As I say, I felt ropey. I was off work on Friday. I had a couple of other days off and recently, and it just keeps coming back. Just these waves of feeling rotten. Felt rotten today. Felt all right yesterday. Felt rotten today again. But you guys have put colour in my cheeks, so I appreciate that. Maybe I'll just bring you all to work with me. You know, if I go do my advocacy trips now, I'm just going to bring you all in my pocket and they'll be fine. Thank you, Snuffle. Thank you, Michelle. Appreciate it. That wasn't a hint, by the way, to drop it. It's my birthday. It's just the first thing that came to mind. Like when your birthday's fall on a Monday, it's pretty cack, isn't it? It's pretty cack. Oh, sorry. That feels like something we've got to pick up in Discord. That's absolutely something we're picking up in Discord, without doubt. I don't know if you're still with us, but Dumpling Abroad, thank you for joining the Discord. Really do appreciate it. Really do appreciate it. And thank you for all the people that have spammed the Discord link tonight, guys. I do appreciate it. It really does help, like these videos, our live streams and everything, get a bit of traction. Nobody wants to turn up to a live stream if there's nobody in or chat is dead. So all you guys in Discord that support us like so reliably, like unbelievably, yeah, I really do appreciate it. I've been looking at booking Vegas, but it's a nightmare. Why don't we just go out for a night out instead, Ricky? Yeah, that feels like a better place. Sorry for you to be discussing your love life, mate. Not in front of these hooligans. By the way, guys, are we enjoying the social bit? It's something we always want to do. You do the serious interview, we reuse that content elsewhere later down the line, and then it becomes a peer support social hangout. If that's really confusing for people, let us know. You know, when we do that switching on off. But my interviews are not exactly that formal anyway. There will be a few. Like we're not going to do this sort of chat after the next chronic pain club when we've got science people and doctors and that in. That wouldn't make a lot of sense. But when we do the regular Sunday night interviews, yeah, I just think it's healthy. I think we talk about some heavy stuff on this show, and I think we also then have an obligation to make a space for people to decompress. And if that's by talking about fantasy bands and set lists, then why not? Why not? I think I finally decided on my next base, by the way. Don't tell Nia. Nia, just go let the dog out for a wee or something. I need to talk to my people. But yeah, I think I finally set on my new base. I've been shopping for the last like 3 months to try and find something that's going to work with my gammy wrists and hands. Um, what's happening? What else is yeah. So, and I don't disbelieve that. Lauren and Kevin absolutely would fly and meet people halfway if one of us was in America. I love it. I love it. I love it. So Lauren was asking me the other week about my next trip to America for like advocacy stuff and that. And the fact that it doesn't really matter where it is in America, they're gonna come and fly out and meet her. Just that amazes me. What an awesome community, guys. What an awesome community. Um I'm guessing Nia's saying no to the base rather than the social chat. What's the role on me having a new pair of shoes? If you get me a new wardrobe, I don't know how that logic works. For anyone, what you can't see, we've got to rearrange this whole room because what you can't see is just here. There is a wardrobe where the doors are all fallen off, and I have to prop them up before every stream and pray that they don't come crashing down on my head. One of these streams, because of the hours of I stream, you are going to see Ricky's going to go mad. He'll be throwing bits for days. But you are going to see a wardrobe door that just comes down and cracks me on the skull midstream. And it's either going to be hilarious or really bad because it's going to knock me out. So yeah, neat. If I get a new wardrobe, knock yourself out to a new pair of shoes. I'd love to come to Vegas. There's no way Nia would get on a plane that long to come to Vegas. I can already tell you guys that now right away. Already not that right away. By the way, guys, if you're watching us on another platform, Twitter or Facebook or LinkedIn, because I forget that we're on them as well at the minute. I feel like when we did the social bit, I should turn off the multi-streaming. Um, please do say hello. We've got chat up on screen now, so if you post on Facebook or Twitter or wherever it is you're watching, it'll come through on screen. I appreciate we don't get as many chats there. Like I totally get it. If I was watching an event on LinkedIn, I'm very conscious that if I put a comment there, people are going to see it. I'm not going to be talking about my fantasy chronic illness band on LinkedIn in chat watching somebody else's event. I get that. But if you want to come join us over on YouTube and have the chat on YouTube, then please do. You can always give yourself an alias. Like we've got some really creative ones here, like Ricky Cobb. Like awesome alias. It's like all of you guys are like got all these handles on Twitch, and then you come over to YouTube using your full names. I find it odd. I find it odd. Nia can swim to Vegas. Yeah. Nia's basically the Dennis Bergkamp of this advocacy setup for anyone that remembers 90s football. Basically, he wouldn't fly. He used to have to go everywhere by road. He wouldn't fly to European matches. I don't know how to work this stuff. Right. Has anyone got any other? Since we seem to be sort of like spiraling the plug hole a little bit here, has anyone else got any nuggets they want to share? The main account I use just my full name. I use this one not to confuse you. Like, I do appreciate it, Snuffle, even though you spell your name differently. Snuffle LE and then EL in different places. I swear, I've seen it spelled differently. Queen Bob, welcome into Discord. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. See, Ben can multitask. Ben can absolutely multitask. I think I've said everyone who's joined hello to who's joined the Discord. But if anyone else I've missed, let me know and I will give you a shout out. So yeah, guys, next week, next Monday is a bank holiday in the UK. So I'm not going to be doing a Chronic Pain Club on the Sunday night because I thought I could actually go out and do something with Dylan on a Sunday night for once. So there'll be no Chronic Pain Club here next Sunday. But I will try and get some videos and stuff out. For anyone who's new here, how it works is the minute we go offline, this entire live goes up on all the platforms we're multi-streaming on, which again on LinkedIn is a terrifying thought tonight. So you can go and skip forward and find the bits you want. So on YouTube, you'll see the full stream and you can just take what you want. In a few weeks' time, I will top and tail that. And I say a few weeks, so I've got a massive backlog all the way back to June at the minute of interviews. I'll top and tail that so it removes all of this guff at the end and before where I'm talking nonsense to you guys. And I'm very much being derogatory about myself, not to you. I just realized how that could sound. So basically, if people just want to hear from the guest, I top and tail it. So it's just the start and the end of the interview. That also goes on to make the podcast, etc. But that tends to come many weeks down the line. So if there's anything you want to rewatch or clip on YouTube and share or get your friends to see to help us grow and help them in, whichever way they need to hear that stuff, you'll be able to do that from the minute I go offline. But you'll have to skip through and find what you need to find. Otherwise, wait a few weeks and you'll see a clipped, edited video. I was using full name. Took me full 10 minutes to change it. Yeah, I use my full name because I kind of have to. But my sort of browsing YouTube account is not. It's very much a handle. I don't want Google to link some of the stuff. Oh, that's actually dodgy. I'm not. Just because I'm either going to be watching base videos or Football Manager streamers, and then when I come to do my advocacy, all I get is a wall of like that. So that's the reason I separate it, not because I'm up to anything nefarious at all. 2 weeks to be able to call. Oh, by the way, before I kill the mic, guys, sorry, thank you very much for the gift membership. So this will confuse people, but on Twitch, obviously, we have subs, and that's the way you can support us. On YouTube, because it's a bit like the Switch controller and the Xbox controller. It annoys everyone why they can't be the same. I don't get it. But obviously on YouTube, you can subscribe, which massively helps us. If you haven't already, please do hit the subscribe button or hit the little thumbs up button on the video. All that stuff helps more people find us. But you can also be a channel member, which is just a way to financially support us. And YouTube gives us a bigger cut than Twitch as well. So if you just like specifically what we do here on a Sunday night, have no interest in the Twitch stuff, and you want to support us by giving a couple of pounds a month or whatever, you can do that via YouTube channel membership. If you like all the Twitch stuff, then just carry on doing the Twitch sub like you would. I'm not going to bang on about that too much, but yeah, just so you know that there's some different terminology. Does live chat show on VOD? It does on YouTube. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it does on YouTube. But yeah, don't, if you're worried about something you said, don't worry. It's me that goes out on, like, say, LinkedIn rerun talking about Amy being able to play the flute. So, I say it's very hard to switch off from your Twitch persona and real life persona. And I've just given up now. The way I see it, if people want me to share my story for my advocacy, so like later in the year, I'm going to Germany to talk about my lived experience and everything else. I don't know, try and go there and be like super professional. Like I do my serious stuff, like when me and Petra were talking and you have your game face on, you're talking about those serious stuff. But I think personality wise, that stuff all plays into it, and it's all part of our lived experience. It's all part of our stories. And if people don't like it, then just go find someone else. It's just like, it's fine. I'm not going to try and pretend to be someone I'm not anymore. Like maybe I was in those early days when I was putting up a bit of a guard and a shield and hiding behind Joel versus Arthritis rather than my name and all that jazz. So yeah, big thank you to Sai for the channel membership gift to Lauren. Really appreciate that, and I'm sure Lauren does as well. So yeah, next Sunday we've got a week off, guys. Then I will be back with two companies. One called Cotton Comfort, that they're people founded by somebody that lives with severe eczema in their family, and they created a company because, again, a bit like what we're talking tonight with pain and not always being about the pills. They wanted a way of people managing their condition, you know, in that 24/7 kind of way. So started creating cotton clothing, pajamas, things like that. So we'll be talking about that. And another company that's joined us at the same time. We're doing this on the same night in the same show, bit of a round table thing. So no pressure, Joel. A company called Medivi that make skincare products, but they tend to be more like herbal, Chinese medicine kind of based. So not stuff I'm overly familiar with, but trying to be as inclusive and open-minded as we can on the show and hear everybody's experiences. So we'll be talking about the people behind that, why they created it, what they lived with skin condition wise that sort of led them on that path. So we'll be doing our first corporate guest stream, I suppose. That's the only way I can think of describing it. So that's on the, is that the 3rd? I'm losing track of my dates. Yeah, Sunday the 3rd. And then we've got a whole load of guests coming, like buses after that. And yeah, I can't wait to share some of them with you. And yeah, I think I'm just trying to make it really diverse. Sorry, I just smacked the mic then. So we've got people like Lauren's going to be talking about their lived experience. Then we might have a doctor joining us. Then we might have an organization and talk about the work that they're doing to try and raise awareness, etc., etc. So if you're watching this either live or back and would like to get involved, drop me an email, and we'll see if you'll be a good fit. But all I ask is that we have no like heavy product placement, big sale things. We're here for the stories. We're here for the lived experiences. So if you run an organization, I get a lot of these emails. If you run an organization, you just want to push your product and there's no lived experience behind it, then this isn't the place for you. But if you want to come on and talk about your lived experiences that maybe led to that moment in time, you know, and how that's linked and etc., and with the focus very much on the lived experience, then please do get in touch and we can see what we can do. Right, guys, I think that's probably time. I called it a night there. I realised I hadn't put the music back on in the background. Let's do that now. For somebody who said that earlier, the music is intentionally meant to be low. I think live chat is on the mods on YouTube. I'm pretty sure it's on YouTube, but only if you watch it on YouTube, you'll see it. So what happens on Facebook, if you're watching us on Facebook, you only see the comments that people on Facebook made, unless I'm sharing it on screen like I am here. So the reason I share it on screen either side of the interview is so that anyone watching it on any platform can see what is on the screen. But during the interview, you will only see the chat messages on the platform that you are watching it, i.e. Facebook or YouTube, etc. So YouTube's always best, guys. YouTube's always best. And like I say, if we start making this social thing more of a thing at the end of streams, I might eventually drop off the LinkedIn and that sort of thing, just so we can just be unapologetically candidly ourselves. You know, if someone wants to come on and talk about how their day is really it, then you can, knowing that when the live video will go out, yes, but when we do the interview stuff, that all gets clipped off and we can just support each other. So, and also if you want more anonymity, guys, just change your usernames. You know, change your usernames if you want to talk about deeper stuff. Then you can absolutely do that as well. So guys, thank you. This has been by far the best chat we've ever had on a Chronic Pain Club show. We've had other YouTube shows that have been a bit different, that have done really well, like all day live stream stuff. But for a Chronic Pain Club show, this is by far the most chat messages we have ever had. Thank you for making it what it is. I just turn up and our guests, you know, kindly share their experiences. It's what's gone on tonight in chat that makes what we're doing here really special. I can't emphasize that enough. So thank you for being a part of it. Genuinely, And yeah, not next Sunday. I will be on Twitch at some point this week. Thursday, definitely. Maybe tomorrow night, we'll see. But I'll be on Twitch during the week. Go check that out, twitch.tv/JoelVersaRthritis. And until next time, thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't hit that subscribe or follow button wherever you're watching, please do. It genuinely helps us. We're a tiny little niche set up talking about very niche things, but that are really important, life-changing things to those people that it impacts. So, if you can give us a follow or subscribe, it really does help. Until next time, guys, have an awesome start to your week tomorrow, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.